You look like you could use a pep talk. Same. You're right, our energy is whack. If you're anything like me, you're probably spiraling, doom scrolling, doubting yourself, feeling really frustrated as well. Times like these are times where astrology is extra helpful. For me, and hopefully for you, this one's gonna be Mars retrograde in Cancer, which is not news whatsoever. That's been going on since last year, and unfortunately gonna keep going until February 23rd. That's what I'm looking at behind my phone, that calendar. And I'll tell you why that I believe Mars is the culprit for our feelings. First, I want to make sure you hear the headline. This is temporary. All things are temporary, and astrology is a time-honoring practice. It reminds us of the cycles of life. That means this struggle has an end date. I wish it was sooner, but it does have an end date. It just feels like we may be having trouble putting our energy, our force, our action anywhere forward right now. And that does add up if the planet that's most correlated with energy and action, force, drive, problem solving, conflict, razzle dazzle, as I said, that would be Mars, whose usual function is to represent our action, our energy, often physically, is currently moving backwards from our view on Earth. Retrograde. Typically, Mars is moving forward like the rest of it. But when it's retrograde, it can feel like our energy also moving backwards or slower. Or like we try to do something and then we have to circle back, loop around because it didn't go the way we wanted. That, or just simply you don't have the energy to put your energy into the things that you feel that chutzpah towards doing. Usually, especially when Mars is in Cancer, those are things that are a little more impulsive or maybe emotionally driven. Cancer is a water sign ruled by the moon. It's also the sign where Mars is most uncomfortable. All planets have signs that they like to be in and signs that they don't. Signs that they function really well in and signs that they... Cancer's gonna be Mars's fall. A sign where Mars cannot Mars to his usual extent. Therefore, our energy, our Mars, not moving the way it usually does, and also backward at the same time. So yeah, of course you're tired. And of course, your ability to sustain effort at one single task, or maybe like one goal, or one main overarching thing, especially if that thing is hard, maybe something that would naturally take a long time, something that's not particularly emotionally driven, or a lot of something, literally doing anything. Yeah, that's gonna be difficult, frustrating, because the energy may come and go, or it might be like, yeah, I thought I meant it, and then later you're like, ooh, wait a minute, that was a momentary emotion, or maybe a distraction, like when we have all this energy towards one thing in the moment, but like it has nothing to do with your goal. It's like exerting energy where you don't need, just having a real backwards experience of energy right now. And I mentioned this is not new. Mars has been retrograde since December of last year. I think that matters because over time it's just going to get more and more frustrating, more and more tiring to not have the energy that we want, to not have the chutzpah and not have it fully within our usual control. However, this is still temporary. Too long, in my opinion, but temporary, which means that come late spring, maybe summer, this will just be a distant memory. But BP, you said February. Yeah, that's when Mars goes direct, but he has to go back over that same part of the sky. Like when you're driving and then you throw it in reverse, then you put it back in drive, yeah, you're gonna go over that same terrain, that same parking spot, metaphoric. So Mars still has to move through the sign of Cancer, back over those degrees. That's called the post-shadow period. Unfortunately, that's going to be happening all the way through April before Mars moves into Leo, a fire sign after that. Still in shadow, but at least not in Cancer. That part definitely better though, because Mars won't be retrograde. At least he's moving forward. We're going to feel like we're moving forward too, even if it's still kind of wonky. So for now, just know you are not alone. This is temporary, and you've got this. And there's nothing weird or wrong with you if you feel like your energy is all over the place, but for the most part, just not there. That's unfortunately very normal right now. Godspeed, soldier.